this week's highlight, we'll look at how well-off parents in China are spending on their babies. Also, we'll hear from the head of German shaving system manufacturer Braun about its latest move in China's vast consumer electronics market. Shanghai expects to welcome more than 130,000 new babies by the end of this year, while the average figure for the past 10 years has been below 100,000. This baby boom is accompanied by a boom in services for prospective parents and great potential for profit in an emotion-driven market. Cai Jue looks at the choices and costs for bringing up a baby.
Wu Zhenhua and Fu Wei are expecting their baby in less than a month, and are preparing for the event by stocking up on baby products. But the spending began several months ago, when they were presented with several options for their prenatal care.
我听一个同事说，他是在
I heard from a colleague who took normal outpatient service, queued for 7 hours, to have 5-minute talk with the doctor.
The price for regular prenatal checkups varies from the regular 20 yuan to VIP 500 yuan, which holds the mid-range.
Hospital fees for the birth itself are often the major part of the budget, with packages in Shanghai ranging from a minimum 3,000 yuan to more than 20,000 for a 5-day VIP stay. After the birth, the most expensive item is nannying. Depending on the nanny's experience, the cost can range from 100 to 150 yuan per day.
We do see the demand is in huge excess, though we started to train more since early last year. Typically, the service is required for the first 1 or 2 months after the baby was born, and apart from the service fee of babysitters, we also charge 10 to 20% of management fee.
So hiring a babysitter can easily cost more than 4,000 yuan a month. Then as soon as mom is ready to take baby out, it's time to start investing in education. Interaction with babies to develop their intelligence has become an important concern for Chinese parents, and many are turning to professional institutions.
Since last month, we see clearly more inquiries about the classes for 0 to 6 months old babies. And the interesting finding is that the percentage of booking our most expensive package is highest for infant babies.
A 45-minute class in a professional institution can cost 150 to 200 yuan, adding up to an annual package of over 7,000 yuan. And the spending doesn't stop there. There are photo sessions in professional studios, special souvenirs such as hand or feet molds, a calligraphy brush made of your baby's hair, and even maybe a specially selected name.
We even received brochures of some naming consulting. A tailored name can cost 100 yuan to 3,000 yuan.
A survey shows that young parents are now willing to spend more than 50% of their income on their children. Value-added services for infants rather than traditional baby products will be where businesses battle it out to share the fruit of China's baby boom. Cai Jue for BizWatch.
China's vast consumer base is also luring hundreds of foreign consumer electronics manufacturers, including those providing shavers. With a population of 500 million males over 15 years old, China represents the biggest shaving market in the world. However, the value of annual sales in this country is less than half that of Europe, as the average product price is much lower. China's growth potential is prompting major players to come up with new strategies. German manufacturer Braun has joined hands with Gillette to introduce a new brand to the country's dry shaving market. This week, Bracken Darrow, president of Braun, talks about their new move. I noticed the launch of this hybrid brand is only limited to the China market.
Yes.
And there's a comment that Braun has not reached its targets in China in terms of sales and market capture. It's been mainly focusing on the top-tier market, while the vast majority of Chinese consumers are in the lower end. The reason for this launch is really to leverage the brand asset of Gillette. So what's your response to that?
Well, the truth is we certainly don't have a set of targets that we've missed or anything like that. In fact, we've been incredibly successful here in China. The reason we're doing this right now is the Gillette brand is extremely powerful, so it's an 80-plus share of the wet shaving market. The Braun brand is really still at its infancy in China. We've been in this market for 10 or 12 years, and we're still growing rapidly. We really have a moment here where we can bring these together and create something really special. So we may do it other places over time, but right now China is a perfect place to start because it's such a big dry shaving market.
You said you've been quite successful in this market, but how do you respond to the comment that you're actually behind Panasonic and Philips?
We came into this market much later than Panasonic and Philips, so we're ecstatic with where we are so far. But we see enormous opportunity ahead of us.
Now, looking at the competitive landscape in China at present, I noticed that foreign brands such as Philips, Panasonic, and Braun, they're dominant in the first and second tier cities, while local brands such as FID and Flyco, they focus mainly on the third and fourth tier lower end market. So do you see a crossover in the near future?
I think it's inevitable that as brands get bigger and bigger, they're going to expand distribution into smaller cities here. And the smaller cities here aren't small, as you know. So, I think it is over time. Certainly, more of the brands that are bigger in the top 20, top 40, top 60 cities will continue to expand outward. But there's a lot of room for everybody in this market. This is such a big market with so much growth that I'm not sure that there's a big threat to anyone. I just think there's a big opportunity. Incomes are going up, so they're able to buy more expensive products, and they're entering some of the categories they hadn't been in before. It's really a terrific place to be.
But we know shaving is a very personal experience, and people get used to a certain brand, and they might stick to it forever. So I guess the churn rate isn't that high, right?
You'd be surprised. The crossover rate between brands is higher than you would think.
Really, even within the higher end market?
Absolutely. Depending on the market around the world, it's somewhere between 25 and 45%. So of the people who go in and buy a different brand next time, and even beyond that, the repurchase cycle it's not as long as you might think. So the averages range from as low as 2.5 years in some markets to as long as 4.5 or 5 years in others. But that means everybody's getting in the market, 10 times during their adult life or more.
Now, why do people switch? Is it technology or what is it?
Well, I think at the end of the day, the technology keeps getting better. If you wouldn't have the experience, but if your father had an experience with a dry shaver, 15 years ago, the experience he'd get today, he wouldn't believe it. It's a total shock to most people when they try the latest generation of shavers.
So it's really the technology that's driving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The lifeblood of our business is innovation. Every time we come, every time anybody in our Germany office comes into China, we go right into consumers' homes and we watch people shave and we talk to them about their shaving experience. Even though a lot of the work is going on in Germany or in other markets at times, the learning is directly coming from consumers here in China, and that's just going to continue to accelerate. As this market gets bigger and bigger, it becomes more and more important to us to understand consumers here.
And that's what your competitors are doing as well.
I'm sure they are. I don't know, but
if they want to succeed in this market.
That's exactly right.
I want to go back to this question about expansion into other cities in China. I understand for local brands, if they want to move up to the top tier cities, they face several difficulties. One is the lack of brand awareness. And second is the high entrance fees for entering the distribution points in these large cities. And also a lack of or a weak sales network. So what are the challenges for foreign brands to enter into the interior of China?
I think you've perfectly analyzed what makes it challenging to continue to expand your brand. It's always about, building awareness, building distribution. And those are expensive propositions. So you have to do it at the right pacing so that you can afford it and still make money and afford to make the kind of investments you want to make to be successful in the market. So it's exactly the same challenge you defined.
What do you see as the biggest challenges, though?
I think they're pretty balanced. I think expanding your distribution footprint is an expensive proposition from a sales force standpoint or distribution. Building awareness costs money. So I wouldn't argue. I don't think I'd necessarily say one is more important than the other. I think they're sort of equally important.
Talking about distribution channels and sales force, are foreign companies buying out local brands for expansion purposes?
I don't know. It certainly has happened over time, and I don't know what's happening from a competitive standpoint in most of the categories that I don't play in. Right now, I haven't seen that much acquisition activity in our categories, but it's not unlikely that that'll happen.
China's shaving market is currently valued at 10 billion yuan, with demand growing at 10% annually.